I'll be the first to admit to you guys that I think we've been making a lot of Deshaun Watson videos lately, to the point where I've been feeling self-conscious about it, and I actually asked my Twitter followers if you'd be okay with yet another one, because this news that I got today is absolutely insane. I mean, I can't even believe that this was said. I can't believe that his lawyer would say this. I feel like he was baited into saying this, and he's been doing a great job up until this point. But this is by far the wildest thing I think I've ever heard anyone say pertaining to the case. Now, before we get to the content, when you hear what this lawyer says, you'll understand this video is gonna get demonetized. So do me a favor and drop a like just to push it out in the algorithm, because YouTube won't promote demonetized content because they can't make money off of it. In addition to this, we're dropping another exclusive murder mystery on my Patreon, patreon.com/microphone. I want to give a shout out to my 3 patrons so far. Thank you so much for the support. And now that we get all that out of the way, break! Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? I apologize if this seems very mushed together all at once. I actually have to run to a very important health appointment in a few minutes. So I'm going to try to catch you guys up as quickly as I can. The last time we talked about the Deshaun Watson situation was when Ashley Solis went on to Real Sports Talk with Brian Gumbel and detailed the unpleasant experience that she had with Deshaun Watson. And it's really important to note that things are starting to look a little bit worse for Watson. Bear in mind, I'm a Deshaun Watson fan. I loved watching him in Clemson. I was rooting for him with the Houston Texans. I think what he did in his last full season in the NFL, despite not having many great weapons aside from Brandon Cooks and Will Fuller, was nothing short of spectacular. But at the same time, as a commentator, I think it's my job to be as objective as possible. And although I am hoping that he is just being set up and he actually didn't do these things that he's being accused of, I have to admit, things aren't really necessarily looking the greatest for him. Now, the primary reason I'm saying this is a few weeks ago, Deshaun Watson admitted that Ashley Solis cried at the conclusion of their massage together. The testimony said that Ashley Solis ended up crying after the encounter with Watson. Watson left Solis's home and followed up in a text message afterward, apologizing for the incident. Watson even said, "Sorry about you feeling uncomfortable. These were never my intentions. Let me know if you want to work in the future. My apologies." Now, when Tony Busby asked, "Why did you text that apology?" Watson said, "Yes, because she was teary-eyed and I was trying to figure out what was going on. And I said, we can work in the future, just let me know." And then I sent my apologies for whatever reason she was teary-eyed for. Now, Solis gave a more graphic description, saying that as she was working, he deliberately grabbed himself and put his Johnson on her hand. She pulled her hand away instantly and started crying, and she told him that, "I'm done and I don't want to work with you anymore." Kyla Hayes also said that Watson wanted her to make a V motion in his pelvic area, go across from his stomach to his thighs, back to his stomach, and she just kept massaging and did what he was asked until his Johnson kept touching her repeatedly as I did it. He was moving his Johnson back and forth as my hands moved as well. Now, following that, we got even worse news. The fact that Deshaun Watson is now facing a 23rd lawsuit alleging the same misconduct. Now, this is pretty bad considering the fact that before there was just 22, and now it seems like they're piling on. By the way, Roger Goodell still hasn't made his decision. They are nearing the conclusion of their investigation in the Deshaun Watson situation. But news is coming out and things are starting to get worse and worse. And I'm just admitting this as a fan of Deshaun Watson. It's not looking good for this guy, because apparently Tony Busby intends to file a 24th lawsuit very soon after we got the 23rd this past week. And on top of that, we got some word in regards to Deshaun Watson attempting to settle over this past year. Now, if you remember a while ago during the trade deadline, I reported that the Miami Dolphins were nearing a trade for Deshaun Watson. And a lot of my haters like coming after me for this because I said they were really close to trading for Deshaun Watson. Watson. The offer was 3 first-round picks to the Houston Texans for Watson. Miami was very interested. They backed out at the last second. Now, if you remember what the Miami Dolphins wanted at that time was they wanted Deshaun Watson to clear his name. They wanted all of the lawsuits to be settled in order for them to move forward, because you have to understand, from the Miami Dolphins perspective, you don't want to trade 3 first-round picks and pay Deshaun Watson. Well, I don't know necessarily what the language of his old contract is, but you don't want to pay 3 first-round picks and potentially Tua Tagovailoa to get Deshaun Watson, and then Deshaun Watson ends up not being able to play for you. Bear in mind, this was still during the time where Deshaun Watson was pending potential criminal charges. Those criminal charges have been dismissed, so he's not going to go to jail at this point, but there are still civil lawsuits after this guy, and he could be suspended for quite some time, especially considering what a commotion this has made in the NFL. I've said this over and over again, man. The NFL is going to have a very tough year this year with all the lawsuits after them. I mean, there's the Brian Flores lawsuit, there's the Deshaun Watson case currently, there's the John Gruden lawsuit, and then there's whatever's going on with the Washington Commanders and Dan Snyder. Now, we got this information about how Deshaun Watson attempted to settle the case very recently over the past 24 hours, and this is even before I get to the most terrifying part of this video, and that's what his lawyer said. All right, so get a load of this. Deshaun Watson offered the plaintiffs $100,000 each, the lawsuit says. So a 23rd plaintiff filed a lawsuit against Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson on Tuesday. This filing includes new claims about how Watson and his team attempted to settle the cases ahead of the filings last year. All of the 23 active cases regard misconduct. The civil lawsuits were filed by massage therapists, each detailing graphic accounts of harassment and assault that occurred during massage therapy sessions. The accounts range from Watson allegedly refusing to cover his Johnson to the quarterback, touching a plaintiff with his eggplant, and try to force her to perform head on him. Now, the 23rd plaintiff is a woman by the name of Nia Smith, and allegedly she had 3 different encounters with Watson on June 7th, August 24th, and in late August or early September in 2020. And the quarterback's behavior grew worse during every massage. Now, this is before we even get to how much Watson offered to pay to settle, but my question is if Watson's behavior grew worse during every massage, and again, objective. I try to remain objective. I try to remain impartial and neutral and fair. I know some people are going to hate my analysis on this because of it, but I'm just saying, if Watson's behavior grew worse during every single massage, why are you going back to see him? Maybe the money is good. Maybe the money is so freaking good that, like, okay, I'm going to suffer through this discomfort, but that's just what's popping in my head initially. I'm not a woman. I don't know what she's going through. So anyways, the lawsuit claims in a footnote that last year, before the cases were filed, Watson offered each plaintiff $100,000 along with an aggressive non-disclosure agreement. So this is where it gets juicy. Of course, we now know that Deshaun Watson offered each plaintiff $100,000 to settle their cases, but not all would accept that amount due to the aggressive non-disclosure agreement that Watson's team proposed. Now, according to the reports, the reason why this is relevant and the reason why the trade fell through to the Miami Dolphins was the Dolphins, who were interested in trading for Watson in 2021, wanted all 22 cases active at the time settled with NDA language before making a deal. However, only 18 of the 22 women were willing to accept the $100,000. Earlier in 2021, the plaintiff's lawyer, Tony Busby, wanted the settlement to include non-disclosure language, but Watson and his lawyer, Rusty Hardin, reportedly did not. Similar to several of the other civil lawsuits, the 23rd plaintiff, Smith, was contacted via Instagram, and according to the lawsuit, she had not previously worked with any Texans players. During the first massage on June 7th, the quarterback allegedly kept demanding that the plaintiff goes inside his anus, according to the lawsuit. It escalated to Watson grabbing Smith's buttocks and reportedly asking the plaintiff if she wanted his Johnson in her mouth. Okay, this is getting way too freaking graphic for me at this point, and I'm just going to throw the link of this article in the description down below. But that is a lot, man. That is just so much. So Deshaun Watson's lawyer actually went on a radio show, and I'm assuming he was asked about this situation, and he could not have given a worse response for the context of the situation. Check it out.
I don't know how many men are out there now that have had a massage that perhaps occasionally there was a happy ending. All right? Maybe there's nobody in your listening audience that ever happened to. I do want to point out, if it has happened, it's not a crime. Okay? Unless you are paying somebody extra or so to give you some type of sexual activity, it's not a crime. And so at the end of the day, that's another thing that would affect conduct. Doing something or saying something or being a way that makes you uncomfortable is not a crime. And so we've had 2 grand juries find that, and nobody seems to want to listen.
Look, man, I'm not a lawyer, okay? I'm gonna be honest. I do have a cousin who's a lawyer. His name's Lawyer Leor on TikTok. So I typically consult with him in regards to these matters before making these videos. But although I'm not a lawyer, I do think I know a thing or two about marketing, or at least casting yourself in the right light. And even if it isn't illegal to receive happy endings, this is not something you want to say in this scenario. I am so shocked that Rusty Hardin even said this. I mean, he's been doing a great job given the situation that he's in. This was not the time to say these words. I am baffled. I don't know why he would think this is a good idea to say during these times, because people are going to take this and run away with it. I can't believe he said this. I am absolutely shocked that he said this. This is such a bad look and a PR nightmare for Watson, sandwiched with everything else. I'm hoping that maybe things get a little bit better for the guy, but god damn, that's the worst thing that Rusty Hardin could have said. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think about all this, man. Do you think Watson's being sabotaged? Are you starting to believe the masseuses in this case? I mean, this was just a huge nightmare in my opinion, but I'd like to hear what you have to say. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.